So now to begin, as I mentioned, our keynote session explores the ambition of air mobility and forward-thinking aviation. So it gives me great delight that Minister Courts is able to join us and open our summit. By way of introduction, Minister Courts, who was appointed as the Minister of Aviation and Maritime back in 2020 by the Department for Transport. He was previously the Parliamentary Private Secretary to the Secretary of State for Transport, and he's also been a supporter of several groups in Parliament. He was chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group, the APPG, for small and micro businesses, and also the vice chair of the APPG for aerospace. So Minister Courts, thank you so much for joining us, and I would like to welcome you to give your keynote speech.
Thank you. Rachel, thank you very, very much indeed for that, and it's great to see everyone here. It really is a pleasure to be here, and there is no more fitting venue to be holding this event and to make this speech, of course, than at the Science Museum. And it's one part of science and history that I really want to talk about, which obviously is aviation. And our airports and skies are a unique, enduring British success story, and I want to make sure that that success is one that stays at the forefront of worldwide aviation and making sure that we lead on some of the new challenges ahead. And I'm very grateful, of course, for the opportunity, therefore, to lay out some of the department's plans: innovation, our path to Jet Zero, and our future aviation strategy. Well, aviation and innovation, of course, go hand in hand. They always have, transporting the movement of people and of goods, and in turn, our environment and our communities. New technologies such as drones and electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft will, of course, shape a new era of green aviation mobility. Increasing connectivity, growing the economy and delivering benefits to citizens from logistics through to the NHS. But it's only by working together with industry, government, academia, and consumers alike that confidence, and consumer confidence in particular, can be developed in these new technologies. The system's already shown proof of concept in the safety, security, and net zero credentials that technology offers. You can see that in the Drones Pathfinder Catalyst programme that my department has supported through the Connecting Places Catapult. From network rails, use of drones for surveying, safety and instant response, to the life-saving possibilities in search and rescue operations, the programme has really delivered on its potential to deliver a huge array of benefits to businesses and communities alike. In fact, during COVID-19, ferry services to and from the Isle of Wight were reduced, causing supply concerns for the NHS. Elements of a drone trial funded by DFT were fast-tracked to ensure that the NHS had the reliable, frequent delivery service beyond the ferries that it needed, increasing resilience and ensuring that the NHS had the supplies it needed to continue to function. Pandemic was a huge challenge for the industry, and it's one that we faced together. And over the course of the next coming years, another challenge that we will have to face and face together is, of course, climate change. And the aviation sector is vital to our future as a global trading nation, and it plays a critical role in supporting jobs and local economies. But we all know, of course, that aviation can't just return to the way things were. The UK, as you will all know, was the first major economy to pass laws to end our contribution to climate change by 2050. And our incredible industry is showing huge ambition. Already, 290 airlines have committed to goals aimed at achieving net zero emissions by 2050. And later this year, the government will publish the Jet Zero strategy, setting out the vision for how aviation can reach net zero by 2050 whilst maintaining all the benefits that air travel provides. For the UK, a real priority is this autumn's ICAO assembly. And we want there to secure the adoption of an ambitious long-term goal for international aviation for CO2 emissions that is in line and consistent with the Paris Agreement. And work to decarbonise aviation is, of course, critically hugely underway already. We've seen significant efficiencies realised in new aircraft, production of sustainable aviation fuel, and the trialling of novel propulsion of aircraft using, for example, hydrogen. UK carbon emissions per passenger were 22% lower in 2019 compared to 1990 due to efficiency improvements alone. BA has taken the first delivery of UK-produced SAF from the Phillips 66 Humber refinery, and Virgin Atlantic has announced a deal with Nest for 2.5 million litres for use at Heathrow. And let's not forget the recent government-industry collaboration during COP26, with SAF powering almost 500 flights during the conference. We're really keen to build on this progress and to accelerate the commercialisation of the SAF sector even further, contributing to our ambition of 10% SAF by 2030. To achieve that, we'll need to maintain the productive partnership between business and government that's already generated so much momentum in areas like the Jet Zero Council SAF Delivery Group. And building on that momentum, we've recently launched a challenge to industry to achieve the first ever net zero transatlantic flight on a commercial aircraft using 100% SAF. This flight will play a key role in supporting the transition towards using higher blends of SAF. And I'd encourage all of those here who feel that they could contribute to this ambition to enter the competition. Now, the other area of focus for the Jet Zero Council is zero-emission flight. The Zero Emission Flight Delivery Group was recently launched at the 5th Jet Zero Council meeting, and I'm absolutely delighted that Rachel Gardner-Poole has agreed to act as the chair. I'm aware of the activity underway in the UK aerospace sector already on developing zero-emission aircraft, including the Fly Zero project's recent findings on the opportunities that hydrogen presents. We've announced a record funding of £685 million over the next 3 years to the Aerospace Technology Institute programme. The CPC's Zero Emission Flight Infrastructure Project and Fly Zero have initiated thinking on the ecosystem that's needed to support hydrogen aircraft. The Zero Emission Flight Delivery Group will convene activity across industry and academia on progressing this work to accelerate the adoption of zero-emission flight. And if you've got an interest in participating in the group, please consider the expression of interest process on the Innovation KTN website. Now, all this brings me to my final point, which is making sure that we build an industry that in every way is fit for the future. The government wants to boost global and domestic connectivity, wants to support the UK's economy and workforce, and to help international trade. We want a multi-skilled industry where we attract the brightest and the best people from a variety of backgrounds. And for all those reasons, that's why our forthcoming aviation strategy is so important. It's going to explore the key issues that the sector will be facing over the course of the next 10 years. The framework will be delivered in partnership with industry. Will also highlight exciting advances in technology and innovation, an area where the UK is a true world leader. New technologies and sustainable fuels will create new low-carbon ways to fly, supporting global travel and connectivity within our union. And as Sir Peter Hendy has highlighted in his Union Connectivity Review, domestic aviation is particularly important for Northern Ireland and the particularly northern regions of Scotland. And it's also key for connecting to international travel. To that end, the government will support airport growth and expansion where possible and when aligned with progress on carbon. Because we know just how important it is to sustainably grow the sector, create new jobs, boost connectivity, and to level up across the UK. Now, our ability to harness flight and to take to the skies has enriched and continues to enrich countless lives. Aviation is a fundamental part of humanity's intrepid instinct for discovery and exploration. I know that everyone in this room shares my passion for aviation, and I hope you'll also share our vision for a robust and resilient sector in the years ahead. It's a sector that's going to be built around innovation, sustainability, and of course success. And we're going to build it together. And thank you for everything you're doing.
you very much, Minister, for what was a really inspirational speech. It was really great to hear all the work that the government is doing. So we have got a few questions that we collated beforehand. So the first one, you talked about all the different stuff that's happening, but it would be great to understand from your perspective, what are the main challenges? And as I mentioned earlier, with every challenge comes an opportunity.
Yeah.
So what are the main challenges and opportunity for the government in meeting the ambitions of air mobility?
Yeah. So look, you're absolutely right about this. I just want to underline and emphasise everything you said, that you're quite right, that where there's a challenge, yes, there's a challenge, but challenges also bring opportunity as well. And I just want everyone here to grasp that and that we share that vision too. I know I'm preaching to the converted here with this audience anyway, but it's a vision that we share too. So I just want to underline and express that. So there's a number of things, of course. We have the challenges, of course, coming out of COVID. We have, of course, the ability of having a sector that is able to bounce back, that's able to get back to where it was. But then we have to look to the future. So we also, there's things like the regulatory side of things. That's making sure that we have an environment that is benign, that fosters innovation, that makes it possible to take those new steps and make sure that we can really grow. And that's why that strategy that I referred to at the end is particularly important, because it's intended to take a holistic look at the whole of the sector and to bring together all of the things that we have that are important, things like skills, things like the regulatory environment, and make sure, just take a holistic look at the sector, partly post-COVID, but partly just to make sure that we're looking to the future anyway, because it's such a time of extraordinary innovation and change.
No, that's great. Absolutely. Yeah, I really endorse everything you're saying. So how do you think the UK activity will actually support global decarbonisation of aviation?
So there's a number of things that the UK is really good at. And the point I made in my speech just there is, you know, when you look back at the course of aviation history, and it's vividly, of course, here displayed at the Science Museum, you can see that the UK has always been a leader. We've always been an aviation nation. We remain that way now. We were one of the leaders and in getting aviation up and running, as it were, in the first place, and that continues to be the case. So by sponsoring all the things that we're really good at, all the things, all the people in this room, all the stuff you're doing, all the innovation, all these new ideas, it's through doing that, there's opportunities for you, but there's an opportunity for the world because we'll lead the way. We'll show people how this can be done, which has a business opportunity, of course, for everybody in the room, but it also has an opportunity for the UK in making sure that we can decarbonise.
No, it's brilliant. And you also talked about the Jet Zero Council and how that's government absolutely working with industry to drive that transition towards net zero. But how will you do that aside from the Jet Zero Council in terms of securing not only an environmental gain, but also an economic gain for the UK as well?
So it's important to see the Jet Zero Council it's a groundbreaking, world-leading programme, because what we're doing is bringing together in a way that I don't think anyone else really is, everyone together. So yes, it's government, yes, it's industry, but it's also academics as well. So it's everyone from every airport, every part of the sector, all of whom need to make sure that their voice is heard and they're really all pulling together in the same direction. But underneath that comes other things. So it's a joint programme between us and BEIS. But underneath that programme, there are then work groups, one on zero emission flight, of course, as you know, one on SAF. And then from that, we will pull in the expertise that we need from elsewhere to make sure that where the environmental expertise is needed, that we go and get that as well. So it's intended to bring together holistically everything that we need to do. And the research that we've done, as I'm sure you'll all be familiar with the consultations, we've done two, a longer one and then a shorter technical one. And that very firmly suggests that we are able to continue to grow the sector, but taking advantage of these green opportunities at the same time. So do have a look at that if you're not familiar with it, because that shows you why we're optimistic about this.
That's brilliant. And then another question is really, what is being done to address the non-CO2 emissions from aviation that affect the climate and local environment? Big topic.
This is a really big topic and a really important point. And this is something we're also looking to consider as well. The key thing with all of this is data and science. We've always got to make sure the data is there and that the science is one that is clear and we're able to follow. So when we're looking at things like the effect of contrails, for example, and then the wider aspect of decarbonisation around, for example, ground support operations and things like that, we have to look at all that as well. What we just need to do is make sure that we have the data and the science clear first, so we know clearly what we're doing. But it's important on that note. This is a big project. This is a generationally significant change, and it won't all be solved in the first few minutes. This is why gatherings like this are so important. It's why the work that we do on the Jet Zero Council is so significant, because it will go on, and there will be other things that come along that we have to take action on as well.
No, brilliant. And then my final question, do you really believe that net zero aviation by 2050 is possible?
Yeah, I truly do. I truly do. And I'll say that, there's two reasons why I say that. And the first is the work that we've undertaken as part of the Jet Zero consultation, which, as I say, that lays out, and there's quite a lot of technical detail in there, you can go ahead and look at it, and shows that under the ambition that we have, that it is possible. That's the sort of the data consultation-based reason. But the other aspect of it is just, is something more about people. And I am optimistic about it because if I look at the room around me, because of the people I meet in the sector, because the fact that everybody I meet isn't saying, oh, well, this is something we're going to have to do and where they're being dragged along, is they're immediately saying, this is what we are doing. And when you look at the steps that have already been taken in aviation, just to make it more efficient, to make airframe designs more leaner, greener, more efficient, and everything they're doing in the future, and you see the trials that are happening unprompted around the world and around airport capacity and with airlines themselves, so much of this is being led by an innovation in a sector that has a massive can-do attitude. So it's the fact the sector are leaning into this, it's the fact they really want to deliver, is the one that it's harder. I can't put that down on a bit of paper and show you where that's written on a consultation document, but nonetheless I really feel it every day in my job as Aviation Minister.
Yeah, and it was great to hear the number of airlines as well that have committed to it as well, which is absolutely brilliant.
Exactly.
No, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your time today. Appreciate your busy schedule. It's been brilliant to have you and hear your thoughts and hear what the government is looking at doing as well and doing already. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For everyone
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.